I was told that I could report the incidences with you, and maybe I can get advocacy. So you're not an advocate?
Okay. So you're saying like you could report the instances of being denied services,
Yes.
and then we can advocate. Okay. No, yes, we can support you on those things. Yes, 100%. So,
Okay.
What happened, and this is not the like really the appropriate word for your situation, but a lot of times we will take calls from survivors who are having problems with programs, and it feels like they've complained or they've gone through possible internal reporting through programmatic processes for reporting like problems with the shelter staff or whatever. The next line of action is to come to us, and we can see what's going on. If there's a training issue with the program, if there's an internal issue, those sorts of things.
Okay.
And then we can advocate for you on finding a resolution.
Okay.
That being said, what you've told me though is that when you call, they're saying that they don't have space for you.
When I call, they have prior knowledge of who I am. Like someone has prearranged for me to get denied services. They just don't give me services. I go into multiple places. I went to the family place. They haven't given me any service at all, period. I stayed there. And then the car sped up like it was going to hit me, and I asked for help and to get the police involved because I believe this man was gang stalking me, and I had multiple false arrests. They put me out and told me to go to the bridge shelter, and the police came to enforce that I left the shelter. They didn't follow the protocol by calling the police and doing the report. They didn't run back the camera footage so that there was evidence of all the amazing things that I was talking about. They put me out and had me go to a homeless shelter instead of and the police won't help me get in hiding. And I've had multiple false arrests. The bridge has been denying services for years after that. That happened in 2019, May of 2019. They've been denying services ever since. They haven't given me anything. There's legal that they offer, housing. They won't do that. They've been saying that they're full. They haven't given me any reference because I told them that I have multiple false arrests and I get sabotage services at multiple different places. He's caused a custody dispute with my daughter, so I don't have access to my daughter from bribes. And I believe it's bribes because multiple parties have lied on me. And it's obvious lies, and it can be proven if there was an investigation. So I went to Genesis. They've been denying services for years. They said that they can't give me services because of my YouTube channel, because I record my calls.
Okay.
And they weren't supposed to be knowing about my YouTube channel.
How do you think that they know?
I believe if they know, someone had to have prearranged that. That's the thing. Someone's prearranging it, and I'm having a hard time proving it because I haven't been able to get the services.
Okay. Have you actually stayed in Genesis before or gotten services from them?
No. I've been trying to get services for them for years and haven't ever got services. They haven't given me anything.
Okay. And they've, I guess you've gone through like the intake process, and then at some point they've declined you for services because of the YouTube.
They claim that they saw it, and they claimed that I was recording that day, which I wasn't. But they are not supposed to know about the YouTube.
Okay. And then you mentioned family place as well. Have you actually stayed there before, or you've only gone through the intake process with them too?
I stayed there May of 2019 when they didn't follow protocol, when the car sped up like it was going to hit me.
Okay.
I asked for another safe environment and for us, because there was police corruption and they wouldn't take my reports, to help with reporting it to the police, and they declined and put me out of the shelter. They didn't follow protocol.
Okay. And and then they referred you to the bridge.
Right, a homeless shelter. Instead of I was fighting for my life, I had police harass me, stalk me, and multiple false arrests.
Okay.
So when I say that they harassed me, like my phone would shut off, I believe that he was controlling my phone. It would shut off in
Okay.
emergencies, and different things would happen to my phone. And I kept going to the providers, letting them know that I believe that he was controlling my phone. And the providers would never investigate anything. It shut off in emergencies. I had a lot of spoof calls. The data texting would shut off. It would do a lot of weird things. So the providers admitted that I would call and have issues with my phone, but they would never investigate it. And a lot of times the police was there waiting on me. The police will intervene in me getting a protection order. They intervened in me at CPS trying to do a report for my child. They intervened in even ordering food, buying coffee. I get harassed by strangers, and I try to report to the police the harassment and getting threatened. They cover for it.
Okay.
I got threatened, locked on a dark train, while the operator locked me on the train while some boys were threatening me. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And the train would not open. The doors would not open to let me off. Like 3 different times it was supposed to open, it stayed closed. So I couldn't exit while the boys were threatening me. And then the police covered for it. And the train driver. So these are the kind of incidents that occurred routinely. And I believe that he was causing all these places to deny me services through abusing law enforcement. Using the law enforcement some kind of way. The police department is involved in the abuse, and they're using abusing law enforcement strategies to keep me from services and keep me bound in this man's abuse.
And okay, that helps. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Okay.
So when was the last time you contacted? Actually, what kind of services are you looking for right now from a program?
Well, I'd like an advocacy on how to combat it when there's police corruption and when they're having all these places deny me services.
What kind of services are you wanting, though? Are you wanting shelter or?
I want an advocate. What do you do when there's police corruption? When you have multiple false arrests and police will not investigate the crimes that happen to you? And when my phone keeps giving me problems and the provider won't investigate that he has broken into the phone network, spoofing calls, cut off my text.
Okay. So the advocate can safety plan with you, and they can sort of explain the legal process to file complaints with the with the police department. Have you filed a complaint?
Yes, and they keep covering for it. I went to Internal Affairs. I went to the FBI.
Okay. And what have they done?
Very little.
Okay.
I'm not getting investigators. That's just getting ignored. They won't give me an investigator, and they are sabotaging, hindering the case because they won't investigate, and they just ignore all the reports, and there's been multiple. I'm still under supervised visits with my daughter and can't see my daughter properly. And they won't do a proper investigation. It's obvious slander and corruption if they were to investigate, but they won't. My daughter witnessed my false arrest, and I've had trouble having access to her ever since then.
Okay.
She was screaming in terror.
Yeah. And when was the last time you contacted Family Place or Genesis for an advocate to work with?
I have a social worker that's been trying to help me, and she contacted the Family Place, and they haven't responded to her. and the social worker hasn't really been fruitful. What I'm trying to do is get how do you get out of police abuse when there's police corruption and they're able to blacklist you from services?
Well, so what I can tell you is that the shelter does not take directives from law enforcement on who they can serve for services. So, I mean, law enforcement can call a program and ask even if a shelter is being serving a particular person, and the shelter will not tell law enforcement who is in their shelter. So that is not a process that every shelter in the city would follow. So the police departments don't have that kind of control over the shelters.
Well, then why would you assume that all of them would deny me services? There's witnesses that we've called around and they keep denying me services for years. So yeah. I do have a wealthy abuser that's blacklisted me and had multiple false arrests, and the police would already be there waiting on me for conflict. When I tried to report my daughter's abuse, they knew about my YouTube channel. The police was already waiting on me, scheming at multiple different times. So what would be your opinion of why they're denying me services? Why me? Why would they choose to deny me services for years?
Well, and how often are you calling for services?
Well, I'm pressed for time. I'm sorry, your name again?
Yeah.
I'm on my break.
My name's Sarah.
Okay.
That's okay. No, I totally understand.
But here's
I can do it.
I want to get back into if this is really going on and the police are abusing their power and keeping me from services. What do I need to do moving forward? And how can you guys help for me being blacklisted from services and escaping this abuser that has hired police to falsely arrest me, harass me, and others as well?
Okay. What I can do is, and I know you mentioned you're pressed for time, so I can share some of the information you've given me and talk with my director, and I can call you back. But we might need to have another conversation around what is happening, so that we can get more details. A lot of times, what we'll do is if there's an issue around, I'll give you an example. If a survivor calls a program for shelter and the person who answers the hotline declines them, and we find out that they decline them for services, even though that's not a shelter policy for declining, say they declined the person because they couldn't get a ride there, then that's a training issue. So we will figure out what the issue is, communicate with the program, with the staff, and with leadership, and make sure that doesn't happen again, and then work to rectify the issue. And that's an overly simplified example.
Okay, so what do you do if I am indeed blacklisted from services? How can I escape being blacklisted? Who do I contact for these people to have the consequences for blacklisting me from services and escaping this man's abuse and law enforcement denying me? So I need to know how to combat the corruption.
Sure.
Are you guys able to give me an advocate and help me with the family violence and how to get an advocate to combat it when there's police corruption involved in the abuse?
Right. So what I can do, I think it seems like what the first step would be is for us to reach out to Family Place or Genesis and see if they're able to provide services for you and what the issue is. But I would need your permission and your name to do that, and figure out what is going on.
Okay, there's a lot of other places besides Genesis. I'm having problems getting services at a lot of other places.
Okay.
But you could start with them, and I do give you permission.
Okay, with Genesis?
Genesis, the Family Place.
Okay.
City Square has denied it. Salvation Army.
Okay. So you're, and then the other piece that will
happen. The Bridge has been denying services.
Yeah. If I call Genesis or Family Place, what they'll tell me is that they can't tell me anything because they don't have consent from you to disclose information. So if you want, I can call them and let them know that we've taken a call from you, and then I can see who the best person is to for you to call and give that permission to. So what I can do is I can kind of work from that angle if that would be the most helpful.
Yes. But I mean, there's quite a bit of them. The Bridge wouldn't give me services. Austin Street. Austin Street has a sister organization for women that are fleeing abuse. They wouldn't give me services. So each place that I go to denies services. I went to Victims Advocates. They deny services. The protection order was denied. Police have intervened in me doing protection orders, if not security. Police intervened at George Allen. I did one at Frank Crowley. Security came to intervene. Police came to intervene in me reporting my phone. CPS. You have coffee.
And you mentioned that you have a social worker.
She's not really helping, so that's why. But she did reach out to. That's why I want a advocate that has.
And is she? What agency is she with?
She's not really helping, so I don't want to discuss that. Okay. She's not with a organization. Well, she's. I really don't want to talk about that one because she's not really providing me assistance. I want to go forward with a social worker that has DV experience.
Sure. Okay. The only preface that I can offer you too is it sounds like you might benefit if you're trying to take the angle of having an advocate to support you, like navigating the law enforcement issues, is a legal advocate. But again, that advocate would be a person who would sort of walk you through what kind of procedures you can take in like your like what types of steps you can take to file complaints and work through that angle, but it sounds like you've already tried those things. So it may just be that there's a little bit more coordination, and I 100% agree with you, like being able to sit down with someone in your community and talk through like all of the things that have been happening so they can get a good, clear picture of what's your experience has been, so that then they can advocate for you is going to be the most helpful.
Well, the thing of it is I need to be able to combat the corruption and being blacklisted from services at multiple different places, and having had police intervene in me getting coffee, food, reporting child abuse, and then arrest me for cover-up, intervene in me catching the bus. And how do I combat that? And what do you guys do to help with that? What are you going to do to help, to assist?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm happy to contact the family place in Genesis and see what the issue is around them serving you. So if you say that, like, I have your permission to contact them, then I'll go ahead and start there if that's okay with you.
Yes, but every place that I've been to get services has denied them. There's a Austin Street, so it's just not those two. But also, I started to record it because it kept happening so frequently and reported it to the police. There was also, what is the name of the other one? Police intervened in me getting services. Police came to our calling to intervene in me getting services, and this called the stew pot. They came to intervene in me getting services there and made me leave pushing and shoving.
Okay.
So I was trying to get services for the homeless, because I was forced out on the street from this abuse and corruption. So I was trying to get off the streets, and they would come intervene in them giving me services. I was at a church and got drug out of a church for begging for my life at the church. I went to another church, and the police came and gave me a criminal trespass at another church for trying to get help at churches.
Okay. Well, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to connect with a a family violence, domestic violence advocate. So I can start there with the two programs you mentioned, and then just kind of go from there. And then I can call you back and let you know what will need to happen is I can call, express sort of what's been happening, and then I'm gonna need to call you back and give you a phone number to call the program and give permission for them to speak to me, because they won't talk to me without your permission.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So we're going to go through the programs that have been denying me services and mistreating me to get services again? That's your solution?
Well, you mentioned that you wanted to work with a domestic violence advocate, right?
So we're going to continue to go with the places that have been denying me services? You think that's the best idea? Or you think maybe we should find a place that won't deny services? I mean, but you can call and hold them accountable to see why they've been denying me services. But I just don't understand why you would go through a place that's corrupt and ask them to, I'm not sure who I'm talking to, because I keep getting denied services, so routinely.
Okay.
Sabotage
Are you
services.
still in Dallas?
Yes.
Are you still in Dallas? Okay. I mean, it sounds like you've called all of the programs in the Dallas area, and they've denied services for you. So I can give you some programs outside of the area to reach out to see if they can.
What about like some police organizations or social workers? Social workers. I mean, a referral to, or I mean, you don't know a personal social worker that deals in DV, a number for that. So I have to go on my own and find apply for these programs again. I'm not getting numbers from actual people. Like I would imagine that someone would say, yes, I know Sarah and here's her number, call her, but I don't get that. And that's why I've been in this situation for years.
I mean, there isn't like a social work organization that works in police corruption. That I'm aware of anyway. I mean, you've requested a domestic violence advocate, and I've explained that an advocate will likely be able to give you information on how to file complaints against law enforcement, but an advocate is not going to work on handling a corruption type of a case. So, I mean, I can refer you to like an attorney to handle something like that, like an attorney with like the ACLU around like your civil liberties being like violated in terms of navigating the criminal justice process or the criminal legal process. But again, like a domestic violence advocate, their primary purpose is to safety plan with you, provide you information and resources, offer safe housing if it's available, and then sort of walk you through different legal procedures. But they're not attorneys. They're not folks that like specifically navigate police corruption cases. That's just kind of outside the realm of their workload and expertise.
Okay, well, so I would think that they would have education on if police, because they used to call and check and make sure that police were investigating the crimes.
Right.
They would call and make sure, but they won't do that for me because I'm not getting the services.
Okay, and so
that's what an advocate used to do, was make sure that police were doing what they were supposed to do. But I can't get services, so I can't get someone to do that.
Okay. So what I'm saying is a domestic violence advocate can do that, and they can sort of walk through their criminal legal process, work concurrently with law enforcement if you file the report, and provide support in that way. If you're in Dallas and the reports you've made are in Dallas, and the issues are with like Dallas PD or the Dallas County Sheriff, your best option is to work with a family violence program that's based in Dallas. So again, I'm happy to figure out what the family violence program in the Dallas area's issue is around providing you services.
Yes, and there's also the Frank Crowley. There's also Frank Crowley Family Violence Division that's been denying me services as well, and that's where security came to intervene and be getting services there.
Okay,
but I do have to. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don't you think that that's amazing that security and the police haven't been intervening me and escaping this abuse?
Well, I'm happy to contact.
Have you ever heard of that before?
There's a way. Heard of what?
Police intervening in someone escaping abuse and security?
Right.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Not in my personal experience.
Yeah, have you ever heard of police intervening in someone getting coffee?
So, Kiana, I would love to help you, and I would love to try and find a way for you to get services in your area. If you'd like me to contact a program to see if they can help you, I'm happy to do that. But if that's not what you're wanting, then I'm not sure what else I can do to support your request at this time. Would you like me to call a couple of these programs and see what the issue is so that they can assign an advocate to support you?
Yes.
Okay. Then what I'll need to do is to make sure I have your full name. Can you spell your first name for me?
Yes, it's Keyana.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Last
and your last name was Cole?
Yes.
Is it Clark?
Yes.
Okay. And then I have your phone number. So I'm just going to start. I know you've mentioned several programs, but the two that we have a pretty good relationship with is the Family Place and Genesis, and I can call.
I don't have a good relationship with them because they've been denied services covering for the abuse.
Yes, and now to go back, Yana, we can try and find a solution for that. If you don't want that, then there are only so many programs in the area.
Yeah, I just don't think that it would be good to go to already bribed ones. So if you're helping me, maybe it would be a better solution to go to places that aren't bribed already and get services from. But I mean, we don't want to continue to try to get services from bribed places. That wouldn't be very logical.
So what I can do then I won't do that. I can give you the rest of the domestic violence programs in the Dallas area, and I'm happy to provide you those hotline numbers, and you can call them to see if they're able to provide you services.
You can try Genesis because they're not bribed, and you can also call and see why the Family Place has been denying me services. I want to know what excuse they come up with, but I just don't think that, and I am pressed for time, I'm on break, that would be the best idea to go to already bribed places, and, but I do want you to reach out to them and see why they've been denied services, Genesis and the Family Place. So you can do that, but I also wanted to get another place that I can get help.
Okay. Have you tried Mosaic Family Services?
They said they didn't know how to help.
Okay. Let me see what other
You can call them and see why they didn't know how to help. But can I call you back at my next break?
That's fine. Do you have a pen handy? Or can you see my number on your ID?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm typically here till 4. Just so you know, our agency operates on a normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5-ish. And then we're closed on the weekends. So if you need emergency support, finding a program or a place, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is a great resource. So if it's, Saturday and you need a couple of phone numbers or you need to talk to someone, they're always the best spot to call, and then you can leave me messages and I can always call you back.
Okay.
If it's not outside of business hours, just so you know.
Okay, thank you. I need to go, but I will call you back at my next break.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.